Hello everyone, welcome to episode 9 of Reading Layamon Brut. Last time, having obtained their freedom, Brutus and the Trojans set sail from Greece and began their quest to find a new homeland. Twee dagen and twee nicht in a saa weeren. Den other day herkommen lieden on avond to Londe. Logitia, harte that eitlond, leerde neer der nane. Na wapman, na wiefman, but in westia pathers. Uitlachen heften I raven that lond, and alle the leerden of slauen. And zwa hit was ali west, and wonnen beraved. Ach zwa money there weren wilde der, that wunderhem thuchte, and the Trojanische men tuchten to than deren, and doeden of than wielden, al here I wiele. To than shippen laden zwa mucha zwa her welden. 2 days and 2 nights they were upon the sea. On the other day, which means the second of the 2 days, on the second day, they came to arrive, in the evening, to land. The island was called Logitia. There were not any people there. Neither men nor women, but only waste or desolate paths. Outlaws had ravaged that land and slain all the people, and so it was all waste and bereft of dwellers. But there were so many wild animals. Deer doesn't refer specifically to a deer. It can refer to a deer, but it just means animals in general. And in this case, there are so many wild animals that it seemed incredible to them. And the Trojan men went to the animals and did of the wild beasts all their will. So they hunted and caught them, and led as many as they could control, as many as they caught, to the ships. So I presume this means these are smaller animals as well, like rabbits and hares and things to that effect. I can't quite imagine putting deer on a ship. Now, maybe they did, maybe that's possible, maybe that's done, but I don't know of it. Her funden I thought Eitlonde an a burg, sweete stronge. To halde weren the wales, weste weren halen. Temple her funden daar ane, I market of Marmestane. Muchel and Mara, the oorse hit havde to welden. Therina was an onlikeness, a wiefmannes liedje. Fire hit was and sweete heich, and our heitness enorme. Diana was I haten, the devil her lovede. Her doede wonderkraftes, the sjuke hire fulste. Her was queen of all waters, thou werksen on earthen. Adon heaven allowen, me held her for hechna god. They found in that island a very strong city. The walls were fallen down, were in ruins, and the halls were waste. So once again abandoned and falling apart. They found there a temple made of marble stone. It was great and good. The worse, which refers typically to the devil, so the devil had it in his power. He had it to control. Therein was a likeness or an image, a statue. It was the likeness of the body of a woman. It was fair and very high. I take this to be in the name of a goddess. There are a few ways this has been translated. So Madden and I think Rosamund Allen does this as well, reads this word heitnesse as heathenness. So they translate this line something to the effect of, in the heathen custom, her name was called Diana. And that's a possible reading. However, the definition that I found for heitnesse in the Middle English Dictionary, and looking at its etymology in Old English, it seems to refer specifically to a goddess. So I'm going to tentatively take this half line here as the statue was in the name of a goddess. Diana, she was called. However, I'm not 100% confident of that translation, so if you have any thoughts, please do let me know. The devil loved her. She did wondrous skills or incredible things. The devil helped her, or supported her. She was the queen of all woods that grow on the earth. In the heathen customs, people held her to be a high god, or a great god. To here waren I wooned the wonderkraftige men. Of the thingen there waren to komen, her hem wilde kudden, mid taknen en mid swevnen, zonne her waren on slape. The wiele there on dan Eitlande was folk woniende, her wortheten that unlikness, the sjuke hit on feng. Brutus hit her de sigen thurch his sa monnen, the waren on dan londe, and the lauen wusten. Brutus nam 12 witien, the waren his wiseste men, and enne prest of his lauen, the waren on dan hevene dauen. Gerion hechte the prest, he was on hirede heg. He ferde to their stoe, their diane in a stode. The wonder or marvel skilled people, so people who are skilled in performing wonders, were accustomed or familiar to her. She would make known, tell or make known to them of the things that were to come, so future things that hadn't happened yet. She would make it known to them with signs, it gives us the word tokens, and with dreams, when they were asleep. The while that, or when the people was dwelling on the island, they worshipped that likeness, that image, and the devil received it. So presumably received their worship. So they are worshipping Diana, but indirectly worshipping the devil. Remember, Layamon doesn't think too highly of divination and pagan religion, as we've noticed so far. Although some of that might be problematized later on, but we'll get to that. Brutus heard say, or heard tell, from... This is the word through, but we need to translate it as from his seamen, his sailors, who were in the land before and knew the customs, the laws. Brutus took 12 wise men. This word can refer to people who have some kind of special or unusual wisdom, some sort of extraordinary knowledge. It's a word that Layamon will use later on to describe Merlin. Rosamund Allen translates it here as wizards, and Frederick Madden goes with sages. So we'll say Brutus took 12 sages, who were his wisest men, and a priest of his laws, or of his religion, which were, his laws which were in the heathen days. The priest was called Gerion. He was high or great in the household or the company. He went to the place where Diana stood, or in which Diana stood. Brutus ferde into their temple, and the 12 amid him, and lette all his folk belaven their rute. And a skale he bear on hond, all of red gold. Milk was i there skal, and wien sommedale. The milk was of arawita hinde, the Brutus shat mid his honde. He makede bithon wevede, a swithe wunsum fur. Ien sithen he beerde, that weved for his nerde. He klepede to their levedy, her was him on herten lev. Mid milden his worten he jirnde hier michten, ofte he kuste that weved, mid wunsumme lates. He halde the milk in that fur, mid milden his worten. Brutus went into the temple, and the 12 with him. And he caused all his people, or commanded all his people, to remain thereout, so outside. A vessel of some sort he bore in his hand, all of red gold. There was milk in the vessel, and some portion of wine, so a small bit of wine. The milk was from a white hind, or a white deer, which Brutus shot with his hand. He made, beside the altar, or actually that's probably upon the altar. Prepositions generally don't map neatly onto each other across languages, so while this says by the altar, we again would probably want to translate it as on the altar, and we've seen that before. He made upon the altar a very pleasing fire. 9 times he went around, or encircled, the altar for his need, and this is something that we will see Merlin do much later on in the text, when he's performing his activities at Stonehenge. He encircles the stones while singing some sort of incantation. He called to the lady. She was dear to him in his heart. With his mild words, his gentle words, he sought her strength. Often he kissed the altar with pleasing expressions. We might translate that as pious or devout expressions. He poured the milk into the fire with his gentle words. Lev di Diana, leva Diana, hea Diana, help me to neder. Wiese me and wiete me durch thine witful kraft, hoeder ich meie lieden, and leiden mine lerden, to anne woensome land, there ich miete wunien, and if ich that land my bejetten and me volk het durch gengen, makien ich wille on thine nome maren anne stoe, and ich there wille huren, mit worshippe hechen. Thus spake Brutus, seithen he nam the hoede, the was of thar hinde, beforen than wevede he hair sprade, swilch he lie on a bede. This is Brutus speaking now. Lady Diana, dear Diana, high Diana, or great Diana, help me at need. Instruct me and tell me, make me to know, through or by your wise skill, where I can go and lead my people to a pleasing land where I might dwell. And if I may obtain that land and my people go throughout or occupy it, settle it is the sense, I will make a great place or temple in your name, and I will hear, but with the sense of obey or subject himself to, I will obey, be subservient to you with high or great worship. Thus spoke Brutus. Afterwards he took the hide, which was from the deer, and he spread it before the altar as though he lay on a bed. He kneled der rovenen, and seithen he adoen lie, swa he gon slomnen, and thereafter to slepen. There thuchte him on his swevne, there he on slape lie, that his levedi Diana, hine levliche beheld, mit woensumme lechteren, wel he him behichte, and hendeliche hier a hond on his heved leide, and thus him to side, there he on slape lie. Beyond the France is on west, thou shalt finden a woensome land. Dat land is beordnen mid there sa, thereon thou shalt urthen sal. He knelt thereupon, and afterwards he lay down. So he dozed off, and thereafter went to sleep. Then it seemed to him in his dream, where he lay asleep, that his lady Diana beheld him lovingly, or looked upon him dearly, with pleasing lechteren is laughter, but presumably this here means something more like she's smiling pleasingly at him. She promised him well, and laid her hand courteously or graciously on his head, and spoke to him thus where he lay asleep. Beyond France, in the west, you shall find a pleasing land. Well, let's just translate this as a winsome land. That makes sense. So beyond France in the west, you shall find a winsome land. That land is run about, or surrounded, with the sea. Thereon you shall become happy. There is vogel, there is fish, there wooneth fire there. There is wood, there is water, there is wilderne muchel. That land is swithe woensum, welen there bearth fire. Wooneth in dan lande, tentes swithe stronger. Albion hatte that land, ach lede neer bearth there none. Thereto thou shalt tamen, and an a new Troje there makien. There shall of thine kunne kine berne riesen, and shall thine mare kun, wilden thus landes. Yond the world berne hechet, and thou bear hall and a sund. There awoke Brutus. Well was him on lever. There is fowl, there is fish, there dwells fair animals. There is woods, and there is water, so there is forest, and there is water. There is a great wilderness, a great wild land. That land is very winsome, or very joyful, very pleasing. There are fair wells, or springs. Very strong giants dwell in the land. Albion, the land is called, but there are not any people there, except for the giants. They seem not to constitute a civilization, according to Layamon. Thereto you shall go, or we could actually read that as there you will flourish, but thereto you shall go, or flourish, and there make or found a new Troy. There shall kingly children, royal children, arise from your people, your kin, and your great kin shall rule this land, and throughout the world be elevated or honoured. This is the infinitive here, because we're still reading the auxiliary shall from line 627. So throughout all the world they shall be elevated, honoured, and you shall be all whole and sound, safe and sound. Then Brutus awoke. It was well to him in his life. Her thoughte of his swevne, and hoe the lavdi him side, with muchelere luve, his side hit his lerden. Hoe him imeta, and the lavdi hine egreta. He thonkte hier gjerne, with lithfulle worden. He beheite hier beheste, and he hit well laste. That to here he wilde temen, and wurchen here an a temple, and on likeness of rade gold, when he kom to lande. And to his lieve here willen idrichen. At here he nomen lave, and to ship leithden. He thought about his dream, and how the lady spoke to him with great love. He spoke or told it to his people. How he we'll just translate this as how he dreamed, but the reason this is not the nominative he, rather it's the dative him, is because imeta is one of the impersonal verbs, or it works in impersonal constructions in Middle English, and here we have an instance of that. So it was dreamed to him, or by him, or something. But it just works better in modern English if we translate it as how he dreamed. And the lady greeted him. He thanked her eagerly with gracious words. He promised to her a promise, and he kept it well, or carried it out well, that to her he would give his allegiance, and work or build for her a temple, and a likeness of red gold, or from red gold, when he came to the land, and always to his life, or in his life, to do or carry out her will. At her or from her they took their leave, and they went to their ships. And that's a good place to leave it. That gives you a bit of a sense, too, of some of the things that are to come. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, suggestions, or corrections, please don't hesitate to let me know. You can comment below in the comments or on the Facebook page, which you'll find linked in the video description. All the best, and I'll see you next time.